Hi, a bass ukulele review today. It's a bass ukulele by Horse. Being completely upfront, I was contacted a little while ago by a company I've actually dealt with before, asking me if I'd like to review a bass ukulele. Now, as a bass player, I don't particularly want to go down the route of reviewing lots of ukes, but I thought, well, no, I'll do a bass ukulele review just because it'll give you an idea from a bass player's point of view. So, I've been given this uke for free to do a review on it. It's a company I've bought a lot of ukuleles for school from, my Kmise ukuleles. Now, I bought the main stack of those a good few years ago, way before I ever had any YouTube channels or anything. And if you've seen my other reviews and opinions on the Kmise ukes, I'm more than happy with them as school instruments, nice, cheap, basic ukuleles. So, I know there's a connection between Horse and Kmise and Aklot. I'm not sure the exact connection. I know Kmise do a bass ukulele and I know Aklot do a bass ukulele, but there we go. This is the Horse bass ukulele to have a little look at. So, first of all, it comes with this very nice gig bag case. It's quite padded. It's got rucksack straps on the back, which is a must for me. A nice accessory pocket and the Horse logo. It also comes with a set of plectrums. They're actually the really thin guitar plectrums. I wouldn't be using those with a bass uke anyway. The Allen key, because it's got a truss rod in the neck. And it also comes with a strap. Now, that's actually a 2-inch guitar strap. I tend to go with much narrower straps on ukuleles. I think on my other bass ukes, I use a 1.5-inch strap, but it works, okay? So, as I was saying, the case is quite nice. I would say a good 10, even 15 millimeter padding on that. You know, if you sit in it, it's not going to protect your ukulele, but for something that comes with it as a package, I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so the bass ukulele itself. Right, it's cheap. As far as I'm aware, it's around about the £100 mark. I say that, it's available on Amazon and eBay. The seller I normally use is Lot Music. This case, it was Lot Music who contacted me, but it was done through Amazon. I've seen them selling for a bit cheaper as well. All right, so it really is the absolute cheaper end of the bass uke market. And that's one of the reasons why I thought I'd do a review of it. I'm unlikely to buy another very, very cheap bass uke, but it's good to do reviews to show what is out there. First of all, I've got to take these labels off because they're annoying, just for you to see. Okay. Quite a nice little, well, I'm laughing actually, it's quite a nice little chord chart, which is completely useless on a bass ukulele because of course a bass ukulele is exactly the same to play as a bass guitar, all right? Not the same as a ukulele with those chords, and it's got the Aquila Thundergut label on it. I can only assume that that's correct. Right, the ukulele itself. It's quite a plain looking ukulele. It's Sapele? No, Sapele. I've always called it Sapele, and my husband gave me a row the other day. So Sapele wood, I'm assuming laminate, just because of the price we're talking about here. It has got quite a nice rosette. That is just about the only decorative feature on it. It is very, very plain. Quite a nice colour to it. Looking around it, it would have been nice to have maybe a little bit of binding, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a nice plain looking bass ukulele. The neck, something I quite like is I do quite like the heel of the neck of that one. Okay. A few of the very cheap bass ukuleles I've seen and played, they've had a very squared off, clunky neck at the bottom, but I do like the shape of that. It does come with both strap buttons already attached, which is very handy. The equalizer is in the side. It does all work with the tuner. It's unbranded. It's just got the volume, bass, middle and treble. I tend not to use much with equalizers, if I'm honest. They tend to just stay at midday or at 12 o'clock. And I always tend to turn the volume just down from maximum. If I'm honest, especially with the very cheap bass ukes, but even the more expensive ones, I don't feel the equalizers actually do that much. You can do a lot more tweaking with your amp settings. Other features, it has got side dots. The advert does say very smooth frets, and that's one of the things I've always liked about Kmise ukuleles. These aren't sharp. I'm not going to say they're the smoothest. I would certainly be playing this without fussing too much about doing something about it, but just one or two of them could be smoother. It comes with a horse head emblem on 12th fret, and the ingrained, that it's not a sticker, horse logo on the top. You know, it's quite a nice looking headstock to it. It's unbranded tuners. They're pretty good. They're pretty straight. This one is slightly wonky, but only slightly. The tuners work. What I always find with bass ukes is I always tend to every so often pull the strings up over the nut when I'm tuning. They tend to just sort of slide over the nut a little bit better, but the tuners worked, no issues at all, as did the actual inbuilt tuner. One thing I'll point out, it's certainly not affecting the actual instrument, but if I hold it like so, there's a sort of a bulge, a little bit of the actual foam underneath. Now, I don't know whether it's meant to be like that or not. It's certainly not affecting your playing of it. It's certainly not affecting the sound. It's just something caught my eye. It's some kind of a composite wood, or it's been painted. I'm not really sure what the bridge itself or the fingerboard are. They're really nice and dark, so they do contrast to the Sapele wood colour of the bass uke, and of course it's got the rubber strings. The actual spec of the instrument, it's 30 inches overall length with a 20-inch scale, so from the nut down to the actual saddle. Off the top of my head, I think my other Kala is a 21-inch scale, so just something to be aware of. 18 frets on it. The actual action, it's not quite as straightforward as with a uke, where it's like you can be quite precise because the rubber strings are so thick, and of course you've got frets to contend with. But I did measure it at 12th fret. It's 3.25 millimeter. It feels nice enough to play, and sometimes with the fretted Electro-Acoustic bass ukes, there is an issue sometimes where the string can slide off the end of the fingerboard. Having played this one a little bit now, I haven't had that issue yet. Anyway, okay. On the back of the instrument, there is a compartment to get inside to be able to change the strings. Certainly up until quite recently, some of the cheaper bass ukuleles was missing this feature. On your sort of Kala top end bass ukes, they're magnetic, just a flip panel in the back. With these ones, they are screwed in. I have taken it off and had a check. There you can see the picture now. It's quite nice and neat inside. There are little cable ties holding the strings in as well. It is possible to change bass uke strings, but it can be a bit fiddly because you're sort of pulling strings in and out and tying and things. So I'm really glad to see that feature on this bass uke. So just before I plug it in, just a general observations so far. Plain looking, not ugly, quite a nice rosette on it. Nice neck profile. It is a little bit top heavy. Most of the electro-acoustic bass ukes are, because you've got the extra weight with the tuners at the top. But it's not a problem when you're playing, and I always tend to use a strap when I'm playing bass ukulele anyway. The tuner, the built-in tuner works, and the actual tuning machines work as well. So let's have a little play and a little plug in. Often questions, do you need an amp to play bass ukulele? This is the bass ukulele unplugged. In other words, just acoustic at the moment. So you can just about pick that up. But if you're playing along with one person playing ukulele, yeah, you're going to be heard. But it is meant to be plugged in and plugged into a bass amp. All right, it's not a great idea plugging bass ukuleles into normal guitar or acoustic guitar amps, because you can end up literally rattling them apart. Right, so the bass uke is plugged in. For anybody interested, I'm using a Warwick CCL 15-inch speaker bass amplifier down there, and I've got a large diaphragm condenser mic in front of that. So when you hear the bass uke playing, you will only be hearing that microphone, hopefully give you a cleaner sound. So first of all, the electronics work. Yes, they do. The very first thing I always tend to check when I'm playing a bass ukulele, and more so with the cheaper ones, is the consistency of the pickup. The pickup is underneath the saddle here in the bridge. If I just, you can just hear that, okay? So what I'm going to do first of all is just play the 4 open strings, hopefully as consistently plucking as possible to give you an idea of the volume. Here we go. Okay, now to my ear, they're fairly consistent. I've played a few other cheaper bass ukes where either the G string, the top string, has been much louder, or the E string has been much louder, or it's got louder as you go across the strings. When I first unpacked it, the E string was actually noticeably quieter. I read somewhere, brilliant bit of advice, with these under the saddle pickups, if you, not lightly, but give it quite a firm press on the string that is the quietest, turn your amp off first. Don't go doing this. In fact, I'll do it. There you are, I've turned my amp off, and all I'm doing is pressing the string quite firmly down onto the pickup, just to make sure. And as soon as I did that the once, the strings became a lot more consistent in volume. It is still a little bit quieter, but it's not that noticeable. Let's have a little play. Yeah, the strings are a little bit sticky, but my hands are actually quite cold as well, so that's not really helping very much. Let's have a little go of... It's not bad. It's a cheap bass ukulele. That's what I've always said about the Kmise ukuleles that I've bought for school as well. They're cheap and cheerful, but they're very, very playable. And so far, this one does seem very, very playable. A little bit of James Brown. Almost had a little bit of feedback at the end. Okay, so my verdict. I'm glad I said I would do a review on it because, as I said, it is probably one of the absolute cheapest bass ukuleles on the market. It works. It's playable. It's not the prettiest of bass ukes, but it comes with quite a nice gig bag. It comes with the strap, plectrums, whatever, and you've got the Allen key for the truss rod. Saying that, unless you actually know what you're doing, I wouldn't go messing around with truss rods too much. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it works. It's probably a great starter bass ukulele. I can only comment on this one because this is the only horse bass ukulele that I have actually played. I have played a lot of Kmise ukuleles which are connected to this company, but I'm not sure of the exact ins and outs. And as I said at the beginning, I was given this bass uke to review as a freebie, but on the condition that I could give an honest review of it. Would I recommend buying one of these? If you're looking just to have a go, there's no reason. It's cheap, it's cheerful, but it works and it plays. You know, can you justify going and spending £300 or £400 on something you may not want to carry on? And as always, you can always upgrade a ukulele in the future. It's basic, but you know, it's not a bad looking bass ukulele. Other features that I do like is that very nice neck heel at the bottom there, the fact it comes with both strap buttons, the fact it's got the compartment in the back to be able to just make changing strings a little bit easier. The tuners worked. It's not a bad looking fingerboard. I'm not so keen on the horse emblem, but I'm not really a horsey kind of person. So there we go. That is the horse bass ukulele. As always, if you've got a comment or a question, please feel free to leave it below. Give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.